Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe Podcast. I'm your host Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
We do have everything but the rain to talk about tonight, Joe, and a lot to talk about.
There is quite a bit to talk about, more than I guess I was anticipating. But I do, as every good podcaster should, have a list. I have a list of notes and shit like that. That way I can keep track of everything. I am nothing, if not, very forgetful, especially when it comes to names of Japanese characters in anime. So, starting it off, we get a little bit more of the Blade God and Renji. And Renji just being like, yo, dude, what you did Ichigo was kind of fucked up. And the Blade God being like, yo, dude, don't fuck with me. You felt it too. He wasn't one of us. And they're just being a little bit xenophobic, which is not a commentary on Japan or the Japanese people. I want to make that very clear. But anyways, he was just like, all right. So I had to send him back, but you felt it too, right? You know, I can feel every single Asuchi that I've ever created. Even Kenpachi, you know, acquired a fucking blade from another person that I forged. And Renji's just like, oh, okay. And the audience is also like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, so Ichigo, he's got to go on a spirit quest. He's got to go on a historic journey. He's got to do his own thing right now. And then he's got to come to terms with that past of his, with his origins. This could even be the secret origins, Joe. Can make it a comic. Imagine that if Bleach was, instead of being animation on a screen, if it was a combination of images and text on physical pages. How incredible would that be? But nothing like that exists anyway, so we're going to move on. So Ichigo is back in the world of the living in front of the Kurosaki clinic, and his dad pops out and he's like, hey, my son, it's been like 17 years. I haven't fucking seen you at all. And Ichigo's gone. He's whoosh, like a ghost in the wind. And turns out he's gone back. And now I didn't write down her actual name, but I did write down what it says on her shirt, because you cannot look away from that word on her shirt, because it is such a good word, and for no other reason of where that word is placed. We find Unagi lady. I even fucked it up. God damn it. Unagi lady.
Yes.
Which is
it's
Eel.
his boss.
Yeah, it's his boss. It's his work boss, which also Ichigo is the worst fucking employee of all time. Like, I think he showed up for maybe like 2 hours total, and he's been employed with this woman for, I'm assuming, months at this point. Anyway, he's stripping down in her place. He's getting naked and wet. He's taking a shower. You fucks. Why to stop?
I almost spit my drink out.
Would have ended the podcast real quick. Anyway, he's very lost right now, clearly, because he fought some weird amalgamation dude who looked like Kevin fucking 11, and then he was imprisoned in a fucking Pokeball in this weird space between dimensions, and then he finally gets to where he's going, and now it's just fucking death and carnage all over him, and like the place that he called a second home has been destroyed, and all of his friends are injured, and then his fucking Bankai is broken, and then he gets like the hope of like, hey, we can fix that shit, and the guy who's like, I can fix that shit, is all like, I'm not gonna fix your shit. Also, get the fuck out of here. So he's going through a little bit right now. Ichigo's in a bit of a mood. But Unagi lady hears a doorbell ring, opens it up. She doesn't see anyone. Ichigo goes, what, it's a fucking ghost, or a hollow, and it's his dad in his captain uniform. And you're just like, oh shit. And so the two of them get spirited away. Haha, anime reference. We finally, for the fucking 10 goddamn years, get the backstory of Ishin Shiba, Ichigo's father. And this was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. I always love, I don't know what it is about that time in the Soul Society history, but like pre-Ichigo, but like not like super ancient past, but like when we were introduced to like younger Aizen and like the Vizards back in the day before they became hollified by Aizen. I always love those episodes. Like getting the backstory of the Soul Society is always so fucking cool, and just seeing how all these characters interacted. Turns out his dad was the captain of Squad 10, and he still had, god damn it, what's her name, Joe? What is, you know who?
Rangiku!
Rangiku, thank you.
Disrespect!
You know how I am
you.
with all these names. Which is funny, because in one of the previous episodes, I was like, they all start with R, Rangiku, Renji, Rukia. She was still the lieutenant of Squad 10, And immediately, like, when Toshiro walks in, he's just like, very good, next in line for captain. And Rangiku's just like, hey, shouldn't that be me? And he's like, shut up, woman, the men are talking.
Oh my god. It makes sense him being on that squad, doesn't it? It makes sense being with them.
Oh, on squad 10, not the misogynistic squad.
No,
Okay.
John. I mean, like, I feel like his personality fits so well with the dynamic of Rankiku and Toshiro. Like,
oh, yeah.
if I had to guess which squad he was on, is what I would have picked.
Yeah. Imagine if he was fucking before Kenpachi, he was like the squad 11.
God.
That would be insane. Anyway, we see what he's doing there. He's getting some reports. Turns out some people are dying out in the world of the living, and he's like, I'm going to investigate this shit. The other two, god damn it, Rangiku and Toshiro are just like, I don't know if just let him go. He'll do his things. Oh, okay. Yes, the world of living. Two of the Soul Reapers get got, and he's just like, what the fuck? And a figure appears behind him, and he's like, what the fuck is this? And it's a goddamn black hollow, who was ironically named White, but this hollow, visually, aside from being like almost fully black, is very special for another reason, which I'll get into a little bit, because now that we're in the world of living, we got a fucking smash cut, camera pan over to Masaki Kurosaki. Her name rhymes. I didn't even realize that. Anyway, so she's bouncing around. She's just a little Quincy girl. It turns out she's something called an etch Quincy?
Etch or ek?
Etch. It's in English, I guess we'd pronounce it etch, but ek, it might be that. I don't know. Anyway, etch or ek Quincy, and she's living with, this was a fucking surprise to me.
Oh, yeah.
Ryukin Ishida, Uryu's father. And I was just like, what the fuck? I guess it makes sense because like there aren't that many Quincy's left after the whole genocide shit, but I'd never imagined that she would be a part of that whole dynamic. So that's like an interesting little wrinkle he's thrown in there. You get a little bit of like back and forth between her and Ryukin, and I kind of like, I don't know what it is about Ryukin at this point, but he seems very much like he's not so set in stone being this like rule following, stick up his ass douchebag that he seems to be later on in the series, like when we first meet him. So it's very, I don't know, it's just fun seeing him a little bit more loosey-goosey. There's also another character there that we meet. Again, I don't remember her name. It's the servant character, the maid character, whatever her name is. The moment she turned to him, I could tell, I was like, is there a bit of chemistry here or something? I don't really know what's going on. I could also tell, I was looking at her eyes and I was like, oh, she's got this is Uryu's mother, isn't it? And we don't know yet.
I can't say anything.
You can't say anything. We don't know yet. But when it's Uryu's mother, we fucking know it's Uryu's mother. There's another thing in this where Ryukin is like, we gotta try and like protect the whole Quincy lineage and the families and all that sort of shit. And so he's questioning, because it seems like Ryukin and Masaki are like almost a setup couple thing. Like they're destined to be married so they can, continue to produce children and like Quincy.
Marriage.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't really seem to be super gung-ho for it, not because he doesn't like Masaki. I get the opposite feeling, in fact. Like, it feels like he does like her, but he's afraid that she doesn't or won't be happy with him. He's a very emotionally in tune person, and he's worried about her in that sort of situation. And again, seeing him like that instead of what he is now in the series, it's nice. It adds layers to him in a way that I wasn't expecting ever to get characterization from Uryu's dad. So I was just very much like, oh, this is very cool. I like this. Smash cut back to the fight that's going on. Ishin is trying to really hold his own. Aizen and his lackey gang appear. They slash him in the back and they're fucking him up. And he's just like, oh shit. Masaki feels a spiritual pressure happening. So does Ryukin, because again, they're both these etch or ek Quincy's, whatever the fuck they are. And Ryukin at first is like, hey, no, we don't go out while the Soul Reapers are out. You gotta wait till they're dead. And she's just like, I ain't about that. It's either I do something now or I will regret it for the rest of my life. Spider-Man would fucking love this chick. That's all I'm saying. So she fucks off. She's like, I gotta go see what the fuck's going on. Gets out there, sees what's happening. The Black Hollow, ironically named White, sees her, and she's just like, hey, come get a piece of this, big boy. And the Hollow's just like, and he fucking yeets himself down there. At this point, I was like, what the fuck is that? And he bites into her. And I didn't know what happened at first. Like, in my head, I was like, he chopped clean through a Soul Reaper's head minutes ago. How is his chomp not going through her body? At first, I thought it was the BLEACH, the weird blue circuitry protection barrier thing that the Quincy's had. I thought she was using something like that. but you don't see any of the lines, and you don't hear her say later on that she's using that. Turns out it's something else, which we'll get to in just a second. But while this thing is like currently chomping down on her, she's just like, oh, cool, you're really close by. Anyway, bang, and she fucking blows its head off. And I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? That's so cool. And then the thing dies, but not before exploding. And dude, this explosion, I gotta say it, this explosion it's just so well animated. Because when Ishin rushes in to try and protect her, the wide shot you get of the explosion, there is a clearly defined straight line where Ishin is protecting, like, he's redirecting the blast with his body. I fucking love that attention to detail. Like, you could have just done a regular explosion, there's like clouds all the way around, but like, no, you showed it from the angle where it would be, okay, big explosion, all the energy going out to like the left side, right side, giant wall of nothing. Because he was protecting her. Like, that's so fucking good. I love it. And then Ishin meets Misaki, and Misaki introduces herself, and she's like, oh no, I'm a Quincy. Is he gonna not like that? And then Ishin, being Ishin, is just absolutely the fucking Chad lad, and he's like, I've never met a Quincy before. This is fucking dope. Awesome. Can you heal me now? I'm in a lot of pain. That's the meeting of them. It wasn't like anything super, I mean, it's super insane because you guys almost died to a black hollow named White. But other than that, it wasn't anything like too absurd. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's very cute. And then in the end, we're in a little lab with Aizen and again his entourage. And they're just like, man, this guy was so close. This guy being the Black Hollow, again, ironically named White. You're so fucking close. He like was in this like whatever stage of development. And now it's done. He's passed it on to whatever the fuck. And I was like, wait a minute. Rewind. Zoom. Enhance. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, I understand where Ichigo kind of gets his hollow powers from, but I never really like understood. And then the thing that really made me very curious as to what the fuck was going on, which I said we'd get back to, is the fucking look of this hollow. It looks exactly like Ichigo does when he turns into a fucking hollow. It even has the same fucking horn Sero blast. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? So that was, I was like, what in the hell is going on? And so, Aizen, which, again, connecting it back to fucking Aizen in, like, the Soul, not the Soul Society, the fucking, so the Wako Mundo arc, where he says to Ichigo, he's just like, I have been instrumental in every aspect of your life, even your fucking conception. He doesn't say that, but it's, like, implied that everything that he's done has been pulling the strings of Ichigo in some way or form. And, like, this reveal, I'm just like, holy fuck. Because this weird hollow experiment, again, the Black Hollow, ironically named White, passed its power, or whatever the fuck it was, onto Misaki. And so that's inside of her now. And so clearly, or I'm assuming, she passed that onto Ichigo, because Ichigo is inside of her because this is a baby. And I'm just like, oh, so this is where all the fucking pieces are starting to fall into place. And the episode has credits, and then we get a little bit afterwards where it's just Uryu in the rain looking like a fucking My Chemical Romance fan. But then there's the pretty boy Stern Ritter there, and Uryu's crying. Or it's the rain, we can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure it's crying. It's symbolic, it's symbolism. And I'm just like, oh no, this is the choice that Uryu is going to have to make. Who is he going to side with, and what is he going to do? Joe, I know you said last time that we talked that this was a mega importante, but I gotta say, I had expectations. I am whelmed and even slightly overwhelmed with this. I am big fan, me likey.
Joe, this is considered one of the greatest flashback arcs in all of manga. Like, this is a legendary arc. Obviously, it's not over yet. We still have 2 more episodes, or I guess the big special.
Yeah.
And this thing, oh my god, they got it right. I was so nervous to watch this. And when you sent me the fucking okay hand, I'm like, oh, he loved it. He fucking loved it. That's all I needed to know, and I knew you loved it. So
hell yeah, dude.
It was great. It was everything I could ask for. It hit all the points. It wasn't overwhelming. And isn't it crazy? Barely any of it was Ichigo.
Yeah.
It's Ishin. It's phenomenal. I cannot wait for this final special. I love the little tease with Uryu at the end. And also the beginning with Renji and Namaya. Namaya came back for me a little bit with that beginning. I like him a lot more now. Kind of the way with how serious he was in that. I thought that was actually a really good close to that kind of like tiny little story.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Because like, again, all the different stuff where it's like the tonal flipping, even some of the stuff in the beginning of the flashback with Ishin and Rangiku, Toshiro. Like, some of that stuff, like, I get it. It's fun character building stuff, like Toshiro ate his whatever the fuck was in the cabinet. Ha ha ha, big funnies. But even still, like, some of that stuff, I was like, I'm liking where this is going. Don't pull what you did last episode and make it all big ha ha funnies. Like, you gotta 5% that, 95% other stuff. You can maybe get away with 10% funnies, 90% everything else, but it's gotta be really good funnies, and it's gotta not detract from everything else that's going on. So I think they struck a pretty good balance with this episode. Again, the detail in this series and the love that's being put into it, I can't believe I'm around to see this. Like, after growing up with the original series and then waiting the 10 years, not even knowing if it was coming back or not until a few years ago, this is just something that's, I feel so elated to be here. I'm just happy to be here, Joe. That's really all this boils down to.
I was so emotional watching this. If I'm being perfectly honest, I was really like, it was like this mixture of like discomfort and like, it's like I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. That's how this arc makes me feel in this show. Oh my God, it's been great. I'm really like, just the way they've handled this. I'm like, oh my God, that means the special, it's going to blow me away. I'm not ready for it. I can't believe it's over. Like, it's not over, but like, we went through this, Joe. We really went through all this. This is insane.
Yeah. And again, next week, we're getting a late Christmas present. Day after Christmas, 1 hour finale special for Core 1. So I've seen some of the key art they've been putting out for this shit. It looks cool. And I had an idea of what was going to happen towards the end of this core. Key visual kind of confirms it for me, baby. God damn, it's good time to be a Bleach slut, man.
There's a lot more surprises left. A lot. We've touched a lot. There is so much that I don't even know about. It gets so deep.
Well, everyone, Bleach episode 11, Everything But the Rain. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as much as these two Bleach sluts have been, because if you couldn't tell, we both really fucking enjoy it. Praise be Tyke Kubu, praise be Studio Piero. God damn, man, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just gonna say it again. I'm so fucking happy to be here. So, with that being said, everyone, remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.